Hello students, good morning. Myself Rajendra Prasad Assistant Professor at Government College Chabra. Today we will discuss about Fire and Ice, a poem which is prescribed for your syllabus. Before going through the poem, let me understand some facts about Robert Frost and his background. What were the economic, political, and geographical situations of that time? So, let's start. Robert Frost was born on March 26, 1874, in San Francisco, where his father William Prescott Frost Jr. and his mother Isabella Moody had moved from Pennsylvania shortly after marrying. After the death of his father from tuberculosis, when Frost was 11 years old, he moved with his mother and sister Jenny, who was 2 years younger, to Lawrence, Massachusetts. He became interested in reading and writing poetry during his high school years in Lawrence, enrolled at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire in 1892 and later at Harvard University in Boston, though he never earned a formal college degree. Prost drifted to a string of occupations after leaving school, working as a teacher, cobbler, and editor of the Lawrence Sentinel. So, most important thing is here both jobs he have done: teacher, cobbler, editor of the Lawrence Sentinel. His first published poem, My Butterfly, appeared on November 8, 1894 in the New York newspaper, The Independent. So it was his first published poem, My Butterfly, appeared on November 8, 1894 in the New York newspaper, The Independent. In 1895, Frost married Eleanor Miriam White, whom he had shared valedictorian honors with in high school and who was a major inspiration for his poetry until her death in 1938. The couple moved to England in 1912 after they tried and failed at farming in New Hampshire. It was abroad that Frost met and was influenced by such contemporary British poets as Edward Thomas. So here most important thing is that some important contemporary poets of Britain are Edward Thomas, Rupert Brooke, Robert Graves. These were contemporary poets of Robert Frost related to the pre-Romantic period. While in England, Frost also established a friendship with the poet Ezra Pound, who offered to promote and publish his work. So, most important contemporary poet of Robert Frost was Ezra Pound, who offered to promote and published his work. By the time Proust returned to United States in 1950, he had published two full-length collections: A Boy's Will, Henry Holt and Company, 1913, and North of Ocean, Henry Holt and Company, 1914, and his reputation was established. By the 1920s, he was the most celebrated poet in America, and with his new book, including New Hampshire, Henry Holt and Company के द्वारा 1923 में पब्लिश होती है. He further range 1936 Steeple Bush 1947, and in the clearing 1962 is fame and honors, including four Pulitzer Prizes, increased. Proust served as consultant in poetry to the Library of Congress from 1958 to 1959. In 1962, he was presented the Congressional Gold Medal. Though his work is principally associated with the life and landscape of New England, and though he was a poet of traditional verse forms and metrics who remained steadfastly aloof from the poetic movement and fashions of his time, Proust is anything but merely a regional poet. See, he was a regional poet, the author of searching and often dark meditation on universal themes. He is a quite essentially modern poet in his adherence to language as it is actually spoken in the psychological complexity of his portraits and in the degrees to which his work is infused with the layers of ambiguity and irony. So, most important devices which have been used in his poems are ambiguity and irony. In a 1970 review of the poetry of Robert Frost, the poet Daniel Hoffman describes Frost's early works as the Puritan ethic turned astonishingly lyrical and enabled to say out loud the source of its own delight in the world, and comments on Frost's career as the American bard. So, he was called the American Bard by Daniel Hoffman. He became a national celebrity over nearly official poet laureate and a great performer in the tradition of that earlier master of the literary vernacular, Mark Twain. President John F. Kennedy, at whose inauguration Proust delivered a poem sad of the poet. He has bequeathed his nation a body of imperishable words from which Americans will forever gain joy and understanding. And famously, he saw poetry as the means of saving power from itself. When power leads men towards arrogance, poetry reminds him of his limitations. When power narrows the areas of man's concern, poetry reminds him of the richness and diversity of his existence. When power corrupts, poetry cleanses. Robert Frost lived and taught for many years in Massachusetts and Vermont, and he died in Boston on January 29, 1963. So these are some important facts about Robert Frost which is to be known to you for better understanding that poem entitled Fire and Ice. Thank you.